Hello, everybody. Today we will discuss about the uh, concepts of the discrete time signals. In the previous lecture, we have discussed the concepts of the analog signals, and today we will discuss about the concepts of the discrete time signals. In this presentation, we are going to cover the different types of the signals which will be represented in discrete time domain, and then we will try to generate these discrete time signals for the purpose of the designing and analysis of the digital system or the discrete time systems here. As we know, signal is nothing but it is a or a physical quantity, or we can say it is also a physical energy that changes with respect to any variable, or it may also change its value with respect to more than one variables here. For example, if we consider any voltage or the current, then we see that this is a function of the time here. So the signals are nothing but they are the functions of the dependent variable or the more than one variables here. If that function is continuous or the functions physical quantity or the physical energy exist for each and every time, it is for the continuum domain of the time, then it is named as the continuous time signal here. But if this signal is passed through any discretization process, for example, the sampling process, then it is named as the discrete time signal, because here the signal is discretized in the time domain, but the nature of the signals remains analog also here also. So any signal, whether it is the continuous time domain or the discrete time domain, both the signals are named as the analog signal. So any signal which is said to be the analog is not necessarily that it must be the continuous time signal here. Means any analog signal may be the continuous time domain signal or the discrete time domain signal here. And if the signal has been discretized, and then we will get here the different levels of the signals in the amplitude domain here. Means the signal has been discretized in the time domain, but it has a different ranges of the amplitude in the amplitude domain, means that it just for a range of the amplitude. And if this is discretized here, that is that if the amplitude domain is also discretized, that is this discretization also takes place in the amplitude domain, then we get here the different level of the signal, and that type of the signal is known as the here the digital signal, when it will be represented by a particular bit, or like the binary digit here using the 0 and 1. So after sampling and quantization, if encoding takes place, then we say now the signal has been converted into the digital signal. Now the beauty of the discrete time and the digital signal is that whatever is the property of the digital signal, same is also followed by the discrete time signal. So here the handling of the discrete time signal and the digital signals more or less is same. So in general, we write here the xn for the digital signal as well as for the discrete signal here. Now, if we discuss here the discretization process, or that say any signal is analog, so in order to convert the analog signal into the digital signal, the process that is followed is named as the sampling process here. Sampling means we capture some ranges of the signal or some values of the signal instead of the total values of the signal here. And at that time, here we will capture only for the certain time duration, and for the next duration we will discard the signal here. So sampling is capturing a signal at an instant in time, hence taking amplitude values of the signal for that certain time instances only here. For example, say if any signal is xt, say for example we have considered here the sinusoidal signal having a dc value of this 1 years, and then xt is a sinusoidal signal, and now we are trying to capture the values of the signal only when the t is 0, plus minus of the t, or plus minus of the 2t, plus minus of the 3t only here. Or in general, we can say this may be represented as the x of the kt, where the k is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. That is the k is in integer. So, and then we can define this one as the x of the k. So this will be named as the discretization or the sampling of the signal here. And since we are selecting here the selection of the capital of the t for the purpose of the selecting the signal, and for the same duration we are rejecting the signal here. That's why this type of the signal is known as the uniform sampled signal, and the process is known as the uniform sampling. And in this one we have selected that capital T as the sampling time interval here. Now discrete time signal is also named as the sequences, because in this place if we select here the xkt and suppose the t is 1, or if the t is normalized such that it becomes here the 1, then this will be represented as the x of the k. So instead of the total signal here the xt, now we are trying to represent the sequences are the different values which are taking place at the capital T when it is 0, 2 type when it is equal to T, 2 times of the T, 3 times of the T, like that here. So a sequence are the discrete time signal, or discrete time signal, or the data sequence, or the sample set. These are the name of the sequences, is a collection of the ordered samples here. In practical application, we process the finite length sequence, because if the length of the sequence is infinite, then it is not feasible to process that type of the information or the signal here. And the existing sequence is often a sampled version of a continuous signal here. Whatever is the signal here in the discrete time domain, it will be the here the sampled version of the continuous time signal here. Now see here, I have selected the capital T as the uniform time for the purpose of the selection and rejection of the signal here from the continuous time domain. Then this capital T is named as the sampling time period or the sample interval, and the inverse of this one is known as the sampling rate, that is 1 by capital T. This will be named as the sampling frequency or the sampling rate, denoted by the f of the naught, or sometimes it is written as the fs. In the different books or the different representation, we use it by the different notations here. Sometimes f0, or sometimes it is represented by the fs here. Now if we consider here the example of the discrete time signal and the analog time signal. Suppose we consider here the analog sinusoidal signal here, having the components at the amplitude, frequency, and the phase along with the time t here. Say here this is the amplitude is xs, fs represents the frequency, that is in hertz, and small t is the time in seconds, and phi s represents the phase in the radians. Then this is the mathematical representation, and analytically we have described the different components of the signal here. Now this signal may be represented something like in this manner, that is on the x-axis we represent the dependent variable, and on the y-axis we represent that function which is function of the independent variable here. Xs, now if we see, xs nothing but it is a function of the dependent variable of the t, and mathematically this can be represented as the xs sine 2 pi fst plus phi of the s, and graphically it can be represented here. So on the x-axis we have represented the t, on the y-axis that is the dependent value on the y-axis here, and the total graph is represented by this equation, that is the xst is represented by the capital Xs, that is the amplitude, sine 2 pi fs, fs is the frequency in hertz, t is the time in second, phi s is the phase in radian here. Now if we are interested in order to represent the corresponding sequence here, that is named as the sinusoidal sequence. Naturally, if this signal is passed through the sampler, that is after sampling we will get here the discrete version of this signal here, that is the discretized signal, and this will be represented something like in this manner. Now xsk for the kth iteration, for the kth value of this one, that is here this will become 1 sine 2 pi 1 upon the ns multiplied by the k is any integer here plus pi s. So here The xs will be the amplitude, capital NS will be the period, K is the sample index, and for the phase in radian, we have applied the same notation, that is the phi s here. So for the kth sample index, this function is represented as the discrete version of this signal here that was represented in the continuous domain. Now the graphically this can be represented something like in this manner, and on the x-axis will represent the sequence, the values of the sequence, and that is the value of the k, that is the sample index here, and the xs, that is now the xs will be function of the k here. Now see here, the xs is a function of the k, that is the k is the dependent variable, independent variable, and the xsk is the dependent, and it depends upon the k, small k here. So this is the here the continuous time domain representation of the sinusoidal signal, and this is the discrete time domain representation of the sinusoidal signal, that is after sampling this signal may be represented something like in this manner. And now the graph will be represented in this manner. In this graph we are using here the discrete version of the sinusoidal signal, not the all the values here, but we are selecting here the discrete values of the sinusoidal here, right? So this will be represented as the sequence here, the sequence of the signal here. Now if we are interested in order to represent a particular sequence, suppose the nature of that sequence is the exponential sequence, exponential, here we are going to describe the different types of the signal. Why we are interested for the different types of the signal? Because after designing any algorithm or any system, that will be tested with the help of the different types of the test signals, different types of the available signals, or different types of the excitation or the disturbances for the purpose of the analysis of the designed signal here. So if we are interested in order to generate a signal that is named as the exponential sequence here, then in order it may be represented something like in this manner, that is the xe is the amplitude, a to the power k is the here the exponential sequence, k is an integer and a is say less than 1 here. So this will the nature of the generated signal will be the damping here. And we have selected here the xe, that is the amplitude, this one is equal to 0.8, and a has been selected 0.75, that is less than 1 here, and k has been selected between the 0 to 10, and in here in vector form we can represent a vector k that has the initial value of the k1 and the final value of the k2, and initial value is the here the k1 is 0 and final value k2 is the 10 here. When we represent this type of the representation, that is the k1 to k2 without any gap, it means there will be a step size of the step gap will be 1. It is by default here. And now we will generate here the x, that is the x to the power x e multiplied by a to the power k. Now we see, then we'll find here we are using the operator, its power, and along with the dot sign here. This is named as the element wise operation here. And stem function will generate here the discrete function of the here the x here, and then we will write on the x-axis as the k, and the y-axis we will write the xe, and the title of the graph will be written as the xe a to the power k here. Now see here, we have written the code in order to generate the signal, that is the exponential sequence here. Now see, after writing the code, we will generate this type of the sequence here. Similarly, we can generate here the another type of the sequence also, that is the unit step sequence here. And for the purpose of the unit step sequence, we can here define what is the unit step sequence. It is a sequence that has a value of the 1 when the k is greater or equal to 0, and otherwise the value will become here the 0 here. So in order to generate this type of the sequence, here first we have generated the exponential sequence here, and now we are trying to generate a new sequence or the new signal for the purpose of the testing any design system here, that is the unit step sequence, and it is discrete in nature here. So for the purpose of the generating this signal, we will write the code here, that is the will be defined the k, and k has been defined -5 to the 10, and x will exist here the for the values of the k greater or equal to 0, and that will be equal to 1, otherwise this will become here the 0, and the x-axis we will write the k, and the y-axis we will write the UK, and the title of the generated signal or the sequence will be the unit step sequence here. And the axis, when we write this command here, that is the axis, x means this will define the range of the x-axis k1 to k2, and the range of the y-axis from minus 0.1 to 1.1 here. Now see, we can generate here the function in this manner here, that is the minus 5 to the 10 on the x-axis, and this is the minus 0.1 to 1.1 on the y-axis here. On the x-axis we have written the k, on the y-axis we have mentioned here the UK, and the title of the sequence is the unit step sequence here. Now we can also test these codes, whether the generated codes are as per our requirement or not, means whether we are in position, whatever we have written the code, whether it will run in the MATLAB command window or not. For that purpose we have to open the MATLAB here. So from the MATLAB prompt we will select the MATLAB, and after selecting this one MATLAB, we will open this one, and then we will write the code in the MATLAB, and I think it will take some time to open it. So we are trying to move again towards the presentation of this one here. That is, yeah, MATLAB will take some time. So we will present this one here, and we are trying to represent the another type of the sequence that is known as the unit impulse sequence. And as we know, unit impulse sequence is nothing but it exists only for the k equal to 0, and it is 0 for another value of the k. Now if we see, then we will find the unit impulse sequence is simpler in comparison with the unit impulse signal here, that is the del t, because the del t is a very complex function that is impossible because it exists for the t equal to 0 and its value is infinite. Or we can say this function may be represented something like in this manner, that is the del t in integration from 0 minus to 0 plus dt, it becomes 1. But here it has a finite value, that is for the k equal to 0 it is equal to the 1 here. So in order to generate the unit impulse sequence, we have to select the range of the k, that is k1 to k2, and say that k, then we have defined here the k, that start initial value of the k is k1 and final value is the k2, and the gap size is the by default this will become here the 1, and x is defined as 1 only when the k is equal to the 0 here. And the function will be represented as the discrete time function, and for that we will use the command step here. Then x level, on the x level we will write here the k, and on the y level we will write here the delta k here. And the title of the generated sequence or the signal will be here named as the unit impulse sequence. And on the x-axis here, x, when we write the axis, means it will represent here the range of the x-axis and the range of the y-axis. This is the x minimum to x maximum, y minimum to y maximum here. X minimum is minus 5, that is the k1, and x maximum is the k2, that is the 10 here, and y minimum is the minus 0.1 and y maximum is the 1.1 here. And so this will be the generated signal according to this code here. Now we will test these codes which we have described in this PPT and in the previous slide also, whether these codes are suitable to generate the required signal or not. For example, if we consider this code here, in which we have described to generate the exponential sequence here, and now we write this code in the MATLAB command window here. If we write in the MATLAB command window, then a signal will be generated here. Means what will be the generated signal here, that will be represented, say this will be the generated signal, that is the exponential decaying sequence here, because the a is less than 1 here. Now see the graph here, that is we have selected here the a 0.75, that is less than 1, and its power is the k. K starts from 0 to 10 when it is 0, then this will become 1, and as we are increasing the value of the k, it decreases here. That is the exponentially decaying here, but discrete in nature. This will be named as the exponential sequence here. And we have mentioned that on the x-axis there must be the k, on the y level there must be the xe, and the title of the command. So here on the x-axis there is a key k, and on the y-axis there is the xe, and the title of the graph or the plot should be xe a to the power k, that is the xe a to power k. It is equal to this one, that is the xe comma k here. So xe comma k is equal to x capital xe a to the power k. So this is the graph here that we have generated according to the code which we have described in the PowerPoint here. Now we will try to generate the second sequence here, that is the unit step sequence here. So in order to generate the unit step sequence as we have described, and suppose we are interested to generate it by writing the code in MATLAB command window, then we just cross it and we are trying to generate the new sequence here. Now see the new sequence that will be generated according to this code here. Now what is happening in this one? In this one we have selected the k1 range of the k1 minus 5 to the 10, and then we have defined that x will exist when the k is greater or equal to the 0 here, and stem function will be plotted here between the uk here, and the y-axis we will x-axis we will write the k, and the y level we will write the uk, and the title of the graph will be the unit step sequence here. Now see on the x-axis it is k, on the y level we have mentioned here the uk, and the title of the graph is the unit step sequence here, and the axis range has the minimum value of the x-axis is the k1. The k1 is minus 5 here, and the k2, that is a x maximum, is the 10. Similarly, the y minimum is minus 0.1. Here it is minus 0.1, and the maximum is 1.1 here. Now we can see another graph also, that is the third one, which we have represented in the next PPT, and now we will select that one for the purpose of the generation of unit impulse sequence here. Now see here the unit, how the unit impulse sequence will be generated here. To generate this one, we will write the code in the command window, and then we will check this one whether the generated code is as per our requirement or not. Yes, it is the unit impulse sequence that exists only for the value of the k when it is equal to 0 and its value is 1 here. So here we have defined the range of the k from k1 to k2 again, and it exists only when the k is equal to 0 and its value is 1, and stem function between the k and x. On the x-axis we will write the k, on the y level we will write the delta k here. On the x-axis we are writing the k, here the delta k, and then we will write the title of the graph unit impulse sequence, and the axis range is the minimum value of the x-axis to the maximum value, that is the k1 to k2, and minus 0.1 to 1.1 here on the y-axis here. Now we are again moving to the PPT presentation for the next sequence here, and in this one we are trying to generate the causal sequence. So in order to generate the causal sequence, for example, suppose we have generated any exponential function here that exists for the value of the k negative as well as the positive here, then we will try to generate here the causal sequence. Causal sequence is that sequence that exists only for the values of the k when it is equal to the 0 or greater than the 0, or for the positive values here. So what is happening here? First we will generate this sequence, and then this will be multiplied by this unit step sequence, and then naturally we will get here the causal sequence. So in order to generate the causal sequence, if we select any coefficient b that is equal to the 0.94, a 0.1, f is 0.32, and k has a range minus 10 to 20 having uniform gap of the 1, and say a function is defined as the b to the power k. Again we are using here the dot then operator. Dot operator means element wise operation here will take place, and then multiplied by the cos 2 pi fk. Again, this is the dot and multiplication operation, that is the element wise operation here. So this is the b to the power k exponential, and here then it will be multiplied the cosine function here. So nature of the variation is exponentially decaying along with the cosine nature here. So we will get here the function that exists from -10 to 20, k from -10 to 20, having the nature of the pk multiplied by the cosine function here, cosine 2 pi fk, and having the cosine nature, this one. And then we will define a function that is the here the u, that is the uk, which exists for the k greater or equal to the 0 here. That is the it exists only for the 0 and the positive values of the k here. Then we will multiply these two functions, and then we will plot these three functions. And in order to plot the three functions, the total here the graph area will be divided into the three rows, that is a 3 cross 1 matrix will be generated, and the first one will be represented into the 3 comma 1 comma 1, that is the first one. Here we will write the subplot 3 comma 1 comma 1, and it will be represented in the discrete in nature. And on the y label we will write here the uk, and font size will be 14, and axis range is from the k1 to k2, and the subplot 312, that is the 312 second one, and this will be again in this stem function. And here we are using the in the first one we have used the g in order to represent the color, that is the green here. But in the second one we are using one here the b, that is the blue in color. And the third one 313, for the 313 we will use here the xk red in color here. We are using the red in color, that is the multiplication of this function and this function. So we will generate this function here by the multiplication of these two. Now these are the functions which will be generated here. The first 313 uk, 312 xk, 313 xk multiplied by the uk, and on the x side level we are using here the k here, and we have defined the range of the axes here. Now this is the required graph here. So in order to check this graph, again we will write these codes on the MATLAB command window here. Now see, we write the MATLAB command window, that is these graphs will be represented in the MATLAB command window here. Just take all the commands and we will write these commands in the MATLAB command window to generate the signal and also to test what will the generated signal here. Now see, we are getting here the three functions as desired. The first one green in color, the second one blue in color, and the third one is the red in color, as we have described with the help of the MATLAB code here. So here we have described 311 green in color, 312 blue in color, 313 red in color here. So these after writing these codes we can generate here the exponential causal sequence. Again moving to the PPT to represent the another functions here. Now as we have described that after sampling we will get here the discrete time signals here, and after sampling what happens, whatever is the signal that will be discretized in the time domain only here. But after the discretization we will get the different time duration, but for a particular duration there will be range of the amplitude, that is not a particular label. So in order to denote here the amplitude with the help of the code, there must be a label. So in order to convert it into a particular label or having a particular value, the quantization is required. So in quantization, the purpose of this one after sampling, what is the purpose here? The purpose of the sampling a continuous signal is to transmit, store, process a limited number of the samples that are presented by a limited number of the digits. So first there must be a limited number of the sequence during the time of the transmission, reception, storing, reproduction, processing, and at the same time there must be a finite number of the digits in order to represent any particular information or the value here. And by using here the fewer number of the digits, the transmission, reception, or the here the storing, retrieval, these becomes faster here. Processing becomes faster, but there are the lesser number of the digits here. But during the time of the quality, here if the number of the bits are lower, the quality will be poorer here. So in order to enhance the quality, the number of the bits must be high here. So we utilize the quantized samples rather than the true samples of the infinite accuracy, because the true samples has the infinite precision, and infinite precision requires infinite number of the bits. So in order to convert it into the finite precision, quantization is required here. Now how the choice will be selected here, choice of the digits for the quantization. As we know, choice of the digits for quantization should be done properly, because in transmitting, storing, and processing, we prefer lesser number of the digits, because if the number of the digits are lower, then speed will be higher here. And with if we are selecting, and at the another side, if we are selecting the very small number of the bits, then what will happen? Some information will be lost. That is, the performance will be poorer here. So there are the two things. One, during the time of the processing, storing, retrieving, transmitting, and the receiving, here the speed must be higher. So for that purpose, the number of the bits in order to represent any information must be as low as possible. But in order to maintain the information or the accuracy of the information, the number of bits must be as high as possible here, because if we are reducing the number of the bits, then some information will be lost here. So two opposite requirements are taking place here for the purpose of the satisfaction, and both should be satisfied here. So how this can be done? By minimizing the number of the digits to facilitate the signal processing or the storing during the time of the any designing of any algorithm. We should emphasize in order to minimize the number of the digits to facilitate the signal transmission or the storing here, and at the same time we will also try to maximize the number of the digits to keep the quantization error as low as necessary or as low as possible here, so that it remains in the permissible range of the quantization error here. For example, say if we are interested in order to generate any sinusoidal signal here, that is said to be the quantized here. So if this is the signal here, say the analog signal, after sampling we will get here the different ranges of the amplitude here, from this level to this level, from this level to this level, this level to this level here. But during the time of the quantization, what happens? If we select any sequence here, then that will be hold here. For example, this is folded here. We have selected only the particular level, not a particular range. Here we have selected this one, and for the next sequence, this will be holded here. Similarly, here this is the level of the signal here. We are not trying to cover the total range, but we will select only a level. That is the requirement of the quantization in order to convert any information with the help of the code here. So blue in color, that lines represents the analog signal, and red in color, it represents the quantized signal here. So after sampling, we will get here the discretization in time domain, and at the same time, with the help of the quantization, we have to achieve the discretization in the amplitude level also. Then we will get here the different amplitude levels, and those amplitude levels will be coded with the help of the binary digits. Then this will be known as the digital signal here, because we have represented this one with the help of the digits here. So for example, if we are interested in order to represent this phenomena here, that is what is the analog signal and what is the corresponding quantized signal, then we will define here the t, and then we will define the x. What is the x? That is a function of the t. 0.2 is the DC level here, any DC value, 2 sine 0.245 t plus 0.15. This is the sinusoidal function having a DC biasing level of the 0.2 here. Suppose the small d is the 0.5, and next we are interested in order to generate a function of the xq such that d is multiplied by the rounding of this function divided by the d here. That is, the x will be divided by d, then rounded portion will be multiplied by the d here, and then we will plot here the t comma x here, and the plot t comma x, that is function will be represented here. The xt will be represented, that is a function of the dependent variable t, and that will be a continuous time signal here. And then we will write here a command hold on, and after writing this one, that graph, that is the blue in color, here we have selected the plot t comma x. There is no line specifier, so by default the color will be the blue here. And when we say hold on, now this graph will be holded here till the we write here the hold off here. So the next graph is the stem, that is the discrete function with t xq here. Xq is defined by this one, and then this will be represented by the red in color. So line specifier is the r. So the next function will be here represented, that is the red in color here, and hold off. Then we will hold off, write the hold off, and on the y-axis we will write here the by writing the command y label and x t comma x q kt. That is there are the two functions. One is the x when it is function of the t. The second is the quantized value of the key x q t here. So the quantized value will be represented, and the here the xt will be represented here. Xt for the blue and x q kt for the red. That is the quantized value. On the x level we will write here the small t legend, one for the analog, and the second one is for the digital, that is the quantized signal. Now see, this is the graph here. And now suppose we are interested in order to check these codes, that when we write these codes on the MATLAB command window, then whether the same function will be generated, the same signal will be generated, same sequence will be generated or not here. So we will write the codes in the command window here, and if we write the code in the command window, then press here the enter button, then naturally we will get here the graph. The graph will be something like here, this binary here, not that one. We are again trying to write this one, control V, and this is the graph here. Now we are getting here the two sequences, two signals. One is the continuous for the continuous signal, and that is the blue in color analog signal, and the second one is for the quantized digital signal, which we have mentioned in our program here. The first one is blue in color, and the second one is the red in color. On the x-axis we have mentioned here the t, x label we have mentioned the t. On the y label there must be the xt comma xq kt, xt comma xq kt, and this is the legends are the analog signal and the digital quantized signal. So analog and the digital quantized signals are represented here. Again we are moving to the next PPT. Now, as we know, the signals may be the deterministic or the random. If any function is explicitly described or any signal can be described explicitly, then that can be named as the deterministic signal. And if the nature of that signal is stochastic, then are non-deterministic, then that will be named as the random signal. The random signals are generated in order to model the noise. Here, as we are discussing these signals in order to test the design signal here, so design system. So in order to here the measure in order to analyze the performance of any design algorithm or the system, there must be a provision, there must be a model in order to check the signal to noise ratio. So for the purpose of the introduction of the noise, we will generate here the random signal, and for the purpose of the random signal, in order to generate the random signal, we will utilize here a command. That command is named as the RAND, random, and here with the help of the random command we can generate the signal here. Now we can see what is the meaning of this random function here. So here if we write the command and says we are interested in order to see what is the random function, then we'll write here the help HELP, and then RAND, random. Now see, here the description of the rand command will be represented here. That is, here see, we can cross this one here, and then in order to make it more clear, we can see something like in this manner. That is, see here, when we write the rand n, then it returns an n by n matrix containing pseudo random values drawn from the random uniform distribution on the open interval 0 1. And when we write the rand m dot n, then rand m dot n will generate the m by n, m cross n matrix. And similarly, we can generate the another function here. So this is the description. For example, if we are interested in order to generate the, here say we are interested to generate the values from the uniform distribution on the interval a to b, then we will write here the ra plus b minus a multiplied by the random 100 to 1 here. And these are the some examples that are related to the random function here, and we have represented here the rand function to see the effect of this one. And similarly, there is another function that has been used, that is the rand n. So we can also test this one, that is when we write the rand n, then n cross n matrix will be generated here. So this is the rand command that will generate here a function that is a uniformly distributed samples here. So we have selected here the xk from 0 to 50 having uniform gap of the 1, and then we have selected here the command rand and its size k here. Then we will find the mean of the x, standard deviation of the x, and discrete representation of the x here in terms of the k, and then we will hold on and we will plot here the different graphs here for the random sequence, mean, and standard deviation here, and then hold off here. And on the x-axis we will write here the k, on the y-axis we will write here the xk, and we will the name of the graph is uniformly, that is the title is the uniformly distributed sample here. So it is represented uniformly distributed samples here. Legends are, we are using here the 3 legends, that is the random sequence, mean, and standard deviation here. So these 3 legends will be displayed here using the 3 types of the graph here that are related to the random sequence, mean corresponding to the mean values, standard deviation. Similarly, we can use here another command, that is the rand n. This will generate here the n cross n matrix, and then we will find here the mean of that one, standard deviation, then discrete representation, that is the random sequence corresponding to this one, and again we will draw using the hold on and hold off command. On the x-axis level we'll write here the k, and on the y level we'll write here the xk, and the legends will be the random sequence, mean, standard deviation, and here the title will be normally distributed samples here. So these are the different types of the functions that can be generated here for the purpose of the testing and for the purpose of the analysis. So in this lecture we have discussed generation of the different type of the discrete time signals using the MATLAB command. And as we know, if we are interested in order to design any system, then from the requirement will be converted into the specification. From the specification we have to develop the mathematical model, and that mathematical model, for that mathematical model we have to write the code. And again, if for the purpose of the analysis of that code or for that model, there is a need of the signals. So if we are interested in order to design any discrete time signal or the digital signals, so naturally this design system will be subjected to the discrete time signals. So there is a need of the generation of the different types of the discrete time signals, whether those signals are the deterministic or those signals are the random. Here in this lecture, we have discussed the different types of the signals that can be generated and that can be utilized for the purpose of the analysis of any discrete time or the digital signal digital system that have been designed here. So in the next lecture, this is about this lecture here, and in the next lecture we will discuss the designing concepts of the discrete time signals here. As we know, in the digital the digital system has some basic advantages over the analog system. For example, during the time of the transmission, reception, storing, and reproduction, it can be virtually done without any loss in the information. And if we and there is also no chances of the effect of the the environmental changes or some values changes in the parameter. For example, if we are interested in order to design any digital system, then for that purpose we have to utilize the adder, multiplier, and the energy storing devices. But in the analog, we have to use the capacitors, inductors, and resistors for the purpose of the designing of the system here. And due to the environmental changes or the temperature, like the temperature, etc., the system's performance here differs. And in the digital system, if there is any value related to the 1, then it remains 1 till the variation of the value is not beyond the noise margin. But in the case of the analog, what happens if there is any change in the amplitude or in the value, then its shape is distorted. But it is not in the case of the digital signals here. So the digital signals will be also free from the interference and the distortions here. And more specifically, the digital system or the digital signals have the more flexibility, and suppose we have designed any system, then the same system can be utilized for the another frequency here also, just by changing the value of the coefficients. But in the case of the analog systems, it is not true. For that purpose, that is for the another frequencies, we have to change the values of the capacitors and the inductors also here. And the here some more advantages which are related to the digital signal processing is, one is the linear phase response is the beauty of the digital signal processing. And the multiplexing is also one advantages here, because we are using here discrete version, that is if we are using the signal in discrete domain of the time, not for each and every time of the signal here. So in between the two sequences, we can use the another sequence here for the purpose of the processing here. So that is in the multiplexing is possible in the case of the digital signal processing here. So there are some disadvantages also that are associated with the digital signal processing. The first one is, for example, if we are interested for the digital signal processing, then whatever is the information, it has to be converted into the digital form here. For example, say this is the any analog information, and it will be converted into the digital here. Then for the purpose of the coding, the value must be folded here. So the sample and hold is required for the purpose of the analog to digital conversion. So before analog to digital conversion, there is a requirement of the sample and hold. So the speed of the processing will depend upon the speed of the sample and the hold circuit here. For example, if the sampling frequency is the 10 megahertz, then speed of the processing will be limited up to the maximum 5 megahertz only. That is half of the sampling frequency here. And one more thing, that in the case of the analog signal processing, if we are using only the two components, that is the capacitor and the inductor here, then as we know, virtually we can say that in capacitor and inductor there is no power dissipation. But in the case of the digital signal processing, we are using the adder, multiplier, and the energy storing devices. And these adders, multipliers, and energy storing devices are designed on the basis of the active devices like the transistors, and so there will be power loss in the case of the digital signal processing here. So and one more thing, As we have discussed that for the purpose of the processing, digital signal processing, the analog has to be converted into the digital, and for that purpose there must be the sample and hold circuit, then there must be the analog to digital conversion, and after the processing, again that digital has to be a digital signal or digital information has to be converted in the form of the analog, and then analog converted information that will be sought within nature will be staircase in the nature that will be converted into the analog with the help of the low pass. So we are using here the additional portions, means additional complexity is required. So digital signal processing will be more complex in comparison with the analog signal processing. So there are some advantages and disadvantages related with the digital signal processing, but here the advantages dominates over the disadvantages. That's why we move towards the digital signal processing. Actually, what happened before the 1970, analog signal processing was the in dominating domain, but after 1970 to 2000, digital signal processing was in dominating. But nowadays we use here the mixed signal processing, that is the digital signal processing along with the analog signal processing, because some signals are generated in nature, they are the analog, so their modulation, their generation is analog. That's why we use here the mixed mixed signal processing nowadays here. So these are the some concepts that are related with the digital signal processing. In the next lecture we will discuss about the designing concept of the digital signal processing. So thank you very much.